Before this story begins, listen carefully. Not every money you collect is safe money. Not everyone you deceive will let it go. Some mistakes wait patiently. And when they return, they don't come with warnings. This story is for anyone who believes consequences are far away. Welcome to Tales at Dusk, the archive of rich African tales. Egoyibo knew she was beautiful. People had been telling her since she was 13. At 18, she had mastered the art of turning beauty into currency. She did not wake up early. She did not rush anywhere. While others talked about school, skills, or jobs, Egoyibo talked about angles, lighting, and captions. Her phone was her mirror, her office, and her marketplace. Every morning, she lay on her bed, scrolling through comments under her pictures. Men admired her openly. Some begged, some pretended to be serious. Egoyibo did not care. To her, men existed for one reason only: to provide. That belief lived deep inside her. It felt natural, like breathing. She posted pictures that showed just enough skin to pull attention, but never enough to look cheap. A shoulder here, a thigh there, a caption that sounded innocent but meant something else entirely. Within minutes, messages would start coming in. "Hi, you're beautiful. Where are you from?" She replied to the ones that smelled like money. Egoyibo was lazy, but she was not foolish. She knew how to talk sweetly. She knew when to delay replies to build interest. And when a man finally asked to see her, she already knew what to say. "I would love to come, but transport is my problem." Most times, the money came without argument. Once it entered her account, she blocked the number. Clean, fast, no guilt. She told herself that men deserved it. They were all the same anyway. Egoyibo did not learn her ways from friends or social media. She learned them at home. Her mother, Mama Egoyibo, was a woman who smiled rarely and trusted no man. Life had taught her lessons the hard way. Promises had been broken. Love had turned to shame. By the time Egoyibo was born, her mother's heart was already closed like a locked gate. Egoyibo never met her father. His name was never mentioned with warmth. Whenever she asked, her mother's face would tighten. "Men are liars," she would say. "They will promise you heaven and leave you in hell." As Egoyibo grew older, those words became household law. Her mother did not teach her patience or hard work. She taught her survival. In her mind, survival meant never depending on men emotionally, but taking from them financially. "If a man gives you money, collect it," her mother often said while tying her wrapper. "Don't feel bad. He won't feel bad when he hurts you." Those words sank deep into Egoyibo's spirit. They shaped how she saw the world. Men were not partners, they were tools, and tools were meant to be used. Her mother worked small jobs here and there, but money was always tight. Some nights, Egoyibo heard her crying quietly in the dark. Other nights, she heard her cursing men under her breath. Egoyibo watched. She absorbed everything. By the time she was old enough to have her own phone, her mother encouraged her openly. "Use what you have," she said, looking at her daughter's body. "Beauty does not stay forever." Egoyibo did not question it. Why would she? The advice came from pain, not wisdom. But pain can sound convincing when it speaks like experience. Soon, collecting money from men did not feel wrong. It felt like justice. A way of balancing a world that had cheated her mother. At just 18, she had collected money from more men than she could remember. Transport money, urgent money, data money, even emergency money. She laughed about it with friends. It felt like a game she could never lose. When men complained or insulted her after being blocked, Egoyibo laughed. She showed her mother the messages. Instead of scolding her, her mother smiled. "Good," she said. "They deserve it." What neither of them realized was that bitterness, when fed, grows teeth, and once it bites, it does not care who it hurts. Egoyibo believed she was in control. She believed nothing could touch her through a phone screen. She believed consequences were stories meant for other people. Her routine every morning had become effortless. She woke up late, stretched lazily, and reached for her phone before her feet touched the floor. Notifications filled her screen, likes, comments, messages from men she had never met but already understood. She replied selectively. Too eager meant poor, too slow meant uninterested. She balanced desire and distance like someone who had done it 100 times before. Sometimes, she copied and pasted the same sweet messages. Other times, she used voice notes, letting her soft laughter do the work. Men opened up quickly. They talked about loneliness, stress, and how beautiful she was. Egoyibo listened just enough to keep them talking. She did not feel connected. She felt entertained. When the conversation reached the familiar point, she acted shy. "I'd like to see you, but transport is my problem," she would type. Most men did not hesitate. The money came. Some sent extra. She blocked them before the alert sound faded from her phone. It had become a reflex. Block, delete, move on. Egoyibo kept count at first. After a while, she stopped. Money came too easily to bother remembering faces or names. She used the money for data, clothes, food, and small luxuries that made her feel important. She joked about it with her friends. "Men are working ATMs," she said, laughing. They laughed with her, but sometimes she noticed something in their eyes, fear or caution. Egoyibo ignored it. Fear belonged to people who doubted themselves. At night, she scrolled through her past chats, men begging to be unblocked, angry voice notes, threats that never went anywhere. Each message made her feel untouchable. She believed the screen protected her, that distance erased consequences, that everyone she dealt with was just another desperate man behind a phone. What she did not understand was that not everyone lives on the surface. Some people still believed in old paths, in patience, in waiting. On one quiet afternoon, when boredom pressed heavily on her chest, Egoyibo decided to scroll through her followers differently. She stopped at a profile that looked plain, no flashy pictures, no begging comments. The man did not chase attention. That alone caught her interest. Without thinking too much, she sent the first message. "Hi." The reply came slowly, calm, polite. Egoyibo smiled to herself. She had done this too many times to fail now. What she did not know was that this was not a hustle anymore. This was an appointment. The man replied hours later. "Good evening." Nothing else. No compliments. No excitement. That alone unsettled Egoyibo. Most men rushed. This one did not. She checked his profile again. The name read Ofokansi. No display of wealth. No flashy lifestyle. Just a quiet profile picture that showed his face half covered by shadow. His eyes looked calm. Too calm. Egoyibo shook off the feeling and continued as usual. She replied sweetly, asked harmless questions, and let the conversation grow slowly. Ofokansi answered everything politely. He never asked for pictures. He never flirted carelessly. It felt like he was studying her, not the other way round. After 2 days of chatting, he finally said, "I would like to see you." Egoyibo smiled. The moment had arrived. "I'd love to come," she typed, adding a smiling emoji. "But transport is my problem right now." There was no argument, no bargaining, no delay. 5,000 entered her account within seconds. Egoyibo stared at the alert and laughed softly. Easy. She blocked his number immediately. WhatsApp, Instagram, everywhere. She felt proud of herself. Another win. That night, she slept deeply. The next morning, Ofokansi tried to call. The call did not go through. He sent messages, they did not deliver. He waited calmly. On the second day, he still waited. By the third day, the calm left his eyes. In the quiet of his shrine, surrounded by earth, symbols, and old things that did not belong to this generation, Ofokansi sat before his altar and closed his eyes. "You do not eat what you did not work for," he said softly, "and you do not take from everyone falsely." He did not mention money. He did not mention anger. He only called a name that had already been written down: Egoyibo. Far away, Egoyibo woke suddenly from sleep. Her heart raced. Sweat covered her body, though the room was cool. She tried to sit up but felt dizzy. A strange restlessness filled her, like something was pulling her from inside. Throughout the day, she felt uneasy. Food tasted like dust. Her phone felt heavy in her hand. She tried to distract herself with social media, but the faces blurred. By evening, the feeling had grown stronger. She paced the room, confused and afraid. Without telling her mother where she was going, Egoyibo picked up her slippers and stepped outside. She did not know where she was headed. She only knew she had to go. As night fell, her legs carried her down roads she had never walked before, toward a place she had never seen but somehow recognized. And in the shrine, Ofokansi opened his eyes. "She is coming," he said. The waiting was over. Egoyibo walked without direction, yet every turn felt decided for her. The streets were familiar, the shops, the junctions. This was her town. She had passed these places many times, but never with this strange heaviness in her chest. Her feet moved faster than her thoughts. She tried to stop once, gripping a roadside pole, breathing hard. The pull did not loosen. It only grew stronger, like an invisible hand guiding her forward. People passed her, greeting, laughing, living normal lives. No one noticed anything wrong. As she crossed into an older part of town, the noise reduced. Houses sat farther apart. The street lights flickered weakly. Egoyibo felt cold, though sweat ran down her back. She recognized the path suddenly, not from memory, but from instinct. It led toward a compound she had never entered but had always avoided. Children did not play near it. Even during the day, people walked faster when passing it. Her heart pounded as she stopped before the entrance. Inside, a soft firelight glowed. The smell of earth and herbs filled the air. Before she could turn back, her legs carried her in. A man sat calmly in the center, as though he had been waiting all along. Ofokansi raised his head and looked at her. "You have come," he said quietly. Egoyibo's knees gave way. She fell to the ground, breathless, confused, terrified. Only then did she understand. This was not a visit. This was a summons. Egoyibo lay on the ground, her palms pressed against cold earth. Her head spun as she tried to understand how she had arrived there. The fire crackled softly nearby, casting long shadows that moved like living things. Ofokansi stood up slowly. There was no anger in his face, no excitement, just calm certainty. "You don't eat what you did not work for," he said, his voice steady. "And you don't take from everyone falsely." Egoyibo tried to speak, but her throat felt dry. Fear wrapped tightly around her chest. She wanted to deny everything, but the words refused to come. The truth sat heavy in the air between them. Ofokansi turned and picked up a broom made of dry palm fronds. He placed it gently on the ground before her. "You came here to work for the money you took from me," he said. "Nothing more, nothing less." Her eyes followed the broom, confusion mixed with terror. She had expected shouting, maybe threats, not this. "You will sweep this shrine," he continued, "every day for 14 market days. You will speak to no one. You will leave nothing unfinished." Egoyibo shook her head weakly. Tears slid down her face. "I don't understand," she whispered. "You will," Ofokansi replied. The moment her fingers touched the broom, something shifted inside her. Her body grew heavy, her thoughts slowed. The gate behind her closed on its own. Outside, the town slept peacefully. Inside the shrine, Egoyibo's old life faded like smoke, and her punishment began. The days did not announce themselves. They simply came. Each morning, Egoyibo woke on the bare floor of the shrine, her body aching, her head dull. Ofokansi said little. He only pointed to the broom, and she swept. She swept the shrine's floor. She swept the corners. She swept paths that led nowhere. Dust returned as fast as she cleared it, as if the ground was breathing it out. No matter how tired she felt, the work never ended until night fell. She was not allowed to leave, not allowed to ask questions. Her phone lay useless beside her, its screen dark. Hunger came and went. Sometimes food appeared, sometimes it did not. Her beauty faded quickly. Her skin lost its glow. Her hands grew rough and blistered. The girl who once spent hours posing for pictures now bent silently over a broom. Outside the shrine, her mother searched. She cried. She ran from house to house. No one had seen Egoyibo. No one knew where she went. Inside, time felt different. Days stretched, nights pressed close. Egoyibo lost count of market days but felt each one carve something out of her pride. At night, when sleep refused to come, she remembered the men she had blocked, the voices she had laughed at, the money alerts she had celebrated. For the first time, the weight of it all settled in her chest, and she understood. This was not about 5,000. This was about who she had become. On the 14th market day, the air inside the shrine felt different. Egoyibo noticed it before she opened her eyes. The heaviness that had pressed on her chest for days was gone. Her thoughts came faster, clearer. She sat up slowly, confused, and looked around. Ofokansi stood by the altar, silent as ever. "You are done," he said. The words struck her harder than any shout could have. Her hands began to shake. Memories rushed back all at once. The charts, the blockings, the 5,000 alerts. Shame flooded her body, so strong it made her dizzy. She fell down, crying, her tears soaking into the same earth she had swept for days. For the first time since arriving, she understood everything. "You don't eat what you did not work for," Ofokansi repeated. Not as punishment now, but as final truth. "Go." Egoyibo stepped out of the shrine barefoot, thin, dirty, and unrecognizable. The town looked the same, but she did not. People stared as she passed. Some whispered. She did not care. Her mind was full of one thing only: survivor. When she reached home, her mother screamed. Mama Egoyibo dropped the bowl in her hands and ran to her daughter, pulling her close. The girl she held felt fragile, like someone returned from the edge of something deep and dark. That night, Egoyibo told her everything. Her mother listened in silence. The anger she had carried for years drained from her face and was replaced with fear, real fear. She realized then that her words, her bitterness, her advice had almost buried her only child. "I nearly killed you," her mother whispered, sobbing. "I taught you poison and called it wisdom." Egoyibo said nothing. She had no words left. In the days that followed, Egoyibo changed. She deleted pictures. She stopped replying to certain messages. Money still tempted her, but fear now stood beside it, quiet and watchful. Some lessons arrive softly. Others drag you to the edge and push your face toward the grave, just enough for you to see it. Egoyibo had seen hers, and she never forgot. Every gift is not free, and every person is not safe to deceive. Egoyibo believed she was only playing a harmless game. She thought distance, a phone screen, and laughter could protect her from consequences. But life has a way of collecting debts, sometimes through paths we do not understand. Bitterness passed from one generation to another can become a silent curse. What we call wisdom must be questioned, or it may cost us more than we can afford. You don't eat what you did not work for, and you don't take from everyone falsely. Some lessons are expensive, some are nearly fatal. If you were Egoyibo, would you have ignored the warning signs, trusting your habits and pride, or would you have changed before life forced you to learn the hard way? And as a parent or future parent, what lessons are you passing down without realizing their consequences? If this story moved you, disturbed you, or made you think twice, like this video so more people can learn from it. Subscribe to Tales at Dusk for more true-to-life African stories that warn, teach, and linger in the mind long after nightfall. And in the comments, tell us, what would you have done differently if you were Egoyibo? Your story might help someone else avoid theirs.